Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतः पदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामीति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा. So welcome all of you all for our weekly Gita class. So we are continuing a discussion on the first chapter. So we were doing text 27. So we were saying this that from text 27 onwards in the first chapter, Arjuna starts to give various reasons why he doesn't want to fight. So the first reason that Arjuna gives why he doesn't want to fight is because of compassion. So text 27 says, Tan samikshyasya kaunteya sarva bandhun avastitan kripaya paraya vishto visidam idam abravit. When the son of Krishna, Arjuna, saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus. So, as soon as Arjuna is seeing all these friends and relatives, uh, there is this feeling of compassion that arises in the heart of Arjuna. So, this is the first reason that because of which Arjuna doesn't want to fight is because of compassion. So, we were discussing this last week. One of the reasons we are not able to uh, see others with compassion is because we are always thinking about me. It's all about me, and that me is very big. Something funny in the English language is, in a sentence, you don't write anything with capital, but the word I always comes with a capital. We are always so self-absorbed, self-focused only about ourselves, and due to which we are not able to feel the sufferings of others, due to which we are not able to show compassion to the suffering of others. So this is one of the biggest problem. So we discussed this last week that we gave the example of Duryodhan, because Duryodhan was so selfish. He's only seeing this war about himself. That's the reason he's ready to sacrifice and kill so many people, because at the end it's all about him. And we saw in Ramayana that when Kaikai was being influenced by Mantara, and Mantara poisoned Kaikai, and Kaikai became selfish. She started to only think about herself and her son. And the result is she became so hard hearted that she literally became the cause of the death of Dhritarashtra and uh, the cause of suffering of so many Ayodhya Vasis and of Lord Ram, Sita, Lakshman. Why? Because she was all thinking about herself. It's all about me. So as long as we are in this conception of I and mine, compassion is very far off. Compassion can just be one of the words that we can speak in our language, but it may really not materialize in our life. So if something is needed in this world, if someone is needed in this world, the world desperately needs people who are more compassionate. Nowadays, you have people who are more passionate, passionately thinking about themselves and their desires. But compassion is when one is thinking about others, the welfare of others, and is thinking about how to deliver others. That is the reason Arjuna, as a wonderful devotee, and showing the example for all of us. The Gita is just about to start, and we will see that Srila Prabhupada explains very clearly that this one quality is very important for someone who is trying to understand Gita and trying to follow spiritual life, trying to put yourself in the shoes of others. So Arjuna, before he hears Gita, he's getting his mindset proper and he's having this quality of compassion. So when we develop this quality of compassion, these wonderful qualities, then actually we become the right candidates to understand the wisdom of Gita. So Srila Prabhupada actually in the next purport, text 27 doesn't have a purport, but 28 does have a purport. So in that, Prabhupada explains that uh, Arjuna becomes overwhelmed with compassion. Kripaya Vishto is overwhelmed with great compassion. And because of that, his perception, the perception that he has now, is filled with this emotional state. Yeah. And Arjuna is the greatest thing is Arjuna is having compassion for whom? He is having compassion for his enemies. This is a sign of a pure devotee. One who is compassionate to those who are trying to harm him. This is a very, very high level. We cannot be on this level. At least myself, this level is very far. Where you are trying to feel compassion for those who are trying to harm you. We have the scriptures are filled with examples like this. Here we see Arjuna, he is compassionate on his enemies. We have Prahlad Maharaj in the Bhagavatam, who is compassionate on Hiranyakashipu, who is trying to kill Prahlad. So we have so many examples. The example of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is compassionate on the people who are trying to crucify him. We have the example of Haridas Thakur. When people were beating Haridas in these 22 marketplaces, Haridas was actually compassionate for all of them. Haridas was thinking about the people who are inflicting pain on him more than himself. This is a sign of a pure devotee. So all godly qualities are bestowed to a devotee, and they are even compassionate towards their enemies. So that's why in the scriptures there is this beautiful verse which Prabhupada quotes in the purport of the next verse, text 28. Yashasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana sarver gune tatra samasate sura harav abhaktasya kuto mahadguna manorate nasti dhavato bahi. So this is a verse that comes in the Bhagavatam, the 5th canto, which explains that Yashasti Bhaktir Bhagavati Akinchana. So anyone who is doing bhakti to Krishna, Sarver Gunes Tatra Samasate Sura. He has all the good qualities of demigods and of the Supreme Lord himself. He's filled with good qualities just by becoming a devotee of Krishna. But then this verse of the Bhagavatam says that if someone is not a devotee of Krishna, Harav abhaktasya kuto mahadguna, what good qualities he can have? Because all his so-called good qualities are only on the mental plane. Manorate nasti dhavato bahi. He is only controlled by the mind. So when he may have good qualities because he is in mood of those good qualities, and when he is not in mood, he may show a complete flip side to it. But a devotee has all these qualities because by practicing the process of bhakti, all these qualities automatically come. One need not separately endeavor for these qualities. By sincerely practicing bhakti, Krishna empowers the devotee with all these transcendental qualities. So this is the contrast between a devotee and a non-devotee. Hmm. So the contrast between how Duryodhan reacted and how Arjuna reacted. In the same situation, Duryodhan is trying to uh, inflict pain upon others and find happiness in that. But Arjuna, even his enemies, Arjuna is ready to forgive. So this is the first reason that Arjuna gives why he doesn't want to fight. So as I was explaining you, that all good qualities automatically come by becoming a devotee of the Lord. So this is the story of Narad Muni and Mrighari. You might have heard this story. So one time Narad Muni's duty is to go around and preach to people. And Narad Muni finds people who are the most fallen and tries to deliver them, isn't it? Like Srila Prabhupada had this formula. When Prabhupada started this preaching, Prabhupada said, always aim big. So when Prabhupada sent 3 couples to London to preach from America, Prabhupada told them, aim for something big. And Prabhupada's philosophy was hunt for the rhinoceros, hunt for the rhino. Because hunting a rhinoceros is very difficult. But if someone hunts a rhinoceros, he becomes very famous. And if someone doesn't hunt, people will think anyway it's difficult to hunt. So devotees preach to the most fallen because they understand that if this person becomes a devotee, then the fame of the Lord, the fame of the process of bhakti will grow more and more. So that is why Narad Muni goes to Mrighari. Mrighari was such a cruel hunter, such a uncompassionate hunter, so merciless that he would kill animals and birds halfway through. He would half kill them and then enjoy seeing them suffer. This is called sadistic enjoyment. Giving suffering to others and feeling that seeing them suffer, you enjoy. That's how material consciousness is. We somehow inflict pain upon others. And when we see that others suffer more than us, we become happy. So Narad Muni came to Mrighari and saw that this fellow was such a cruel hunter. Narad Muni told him what is his destiny. If he continues this path, he will have to suffer a lot. Mrighari said, I don't know any other way. This is the only way. Narad Muni told them, don't worry, you give up this, all your needs will be taken care of. The Lord will arrange. Somehow, by the mercy of Narad Muni, Mrighari became a devotee and he stopped his hunting, and he lived a very devotional and a very non-violent life. So one day, Narad Muni comes along with his friend Parvat Muni to meet Mrighari. And Mrighari, seeing Narad Muni, his guru, he wants to offer obeisances, Dandavat. But then as he is about to offer obeisances, he sees little ants on the ground. Mrighari develops such compassion in his heart that he is not ready to kill even those ants. And with his dhoti, he removes the ants aside and then he offers obeisances. So the point is, Mrighari was such a cruel hunter. How did he become so compassionate that he didn't want to kill even ants? Because he took up to the process of bhakti by the association of another devotee. So the point is, like Srila Prabhupada quotes here, Yashasti Bhaktir Bhagavati Akinchana. When someone becomes a devotee of the Lord, automatically all good qualities come. There is another very similar story. I don't know if you all have heard, there is a very famous motivational speaker and a coach called Peter Burwash. You all can Google and see him. So Peter Burwash was at one time He was like a very famous tennis player, a world champion. So he came to meet Srila Prabhupada in the 1970s. And he really liked the association of Prabhupada. And those few opportunities that he had to meet Srila Prabhupada actually preached to him Krishna conscious philosophy. And then he understood what is the importance of life and being compassionate. So one day he was actually playing one of these Wimbledon matches. And while he was playing this, he saw that on that pitch, the tennis, you know, where they play this tennis game on the ground, there were some ants. Because he didn't want to kill those ants, he didn't play his game well. He lost the cup actually. He lost the game, but he was very satisfied that at least I didn't kill the lives of so many ants. How this transformation came? Because he became a devotee in the association of Srila Prabhupada. So it's so important that we take up to the process of bhakti nicely so that all these qualities come in us and we actually become compassionate for the suffering of others and we try to live a life of non-violence. So we'll read text 28. So from now on, Arjuna starts to speak. Arjuna uvacha drishtve mam swajanam krishnam yutsum samupastitam sidanti mama gatrani mukam cha parishusyati. Arjuna said, my dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up. So these are various signs in the body of Arjuna. Arjuna is like got so emotional. He's become so compassionate that he's telling Krishna, my dear Krishna, seeing all my friends and relatives here who are ready to fight with me, my body is shaking. I feel the limbs of my body shaking. Sidanti mama gatrani mukam cha parishusyati, and my mouth is drying up. Yeah, sometimes this happens. So these are uh, signs of ecstasy sometimes, and it could be signs of stress and fear also. Suddenly your hands start to shake, your body starts to shake, and your mouth gets dry. Sometimes it happens now when someone is about to answer a very important interview, or you have to face public. So when you're really nervous, you'll find these symptoms happening: your mouth drying up, your body trembling. So these are symptoms happening in the body of Arjuna. Can you imagine? Arjuna is such a powerful warrior. Can you imagine Arjuna is holding the Gandiva bow and that bow is shaking and his mouth is drying up? I mean, life is such that it can put anyone in any test. We may think we are very intelligent and very smart, but then life throws such googly at us, we will not know how to face this ball. It becomes very difficult. One of our senior devotees in Bombay, Gaurang Prabhu, he was telling the story. In our Chowpatty temple in Bombay, we have one devotee who is like a driver of our vehicle. His name is Garuda Prabhu. So we have two drivers, Daruk and Garuda. So both were carriers of the Lord Krishna. So these drivers drive our devotees. They drive Radhanath Swami Maharaj around. So this Garuda Prabhu, I mean, he's been driving car for almost like 20-25 years in Bombay. So he decided that let me go to America and try driving there. So he went to America to drive cars there, but he couldn't drive his car at all in America. He lost balance complete. Why? Because in India and in America, the steering wheels, everything is different. It's opposite. Here you have left-hand drive, you have right-hand drive there. It's so confusing. And because he is used to one system of driving for 25 years, he couldn't adjust to another system. And he practically couldn't drive there. He had to come back. So the point is, just one shift in something, you can lose your balance. So Arjuna is such a powerful warrior, but This particular war, Arjuna has fought with Nivata Kavachas, demons whom even demigods couldn't fight. Arjuna has fought. Arjuna has defeated Indra, Shivji, so many people. But here is a different war for Arjuna. Here is his own relatives. So Arjuna is so stressed and emotional that his body is shaking and his mouth is drying up. So Arjuna's reactions are this, that his limbs are quivering and his mouth is drying up on seeing his relatives. So, one second. Yeah. So Prabhupada explains in the purport here that when Arjuna is trying to see the warrior, Drishtve Mam Swajanam Krishnam. Drishtve means to see. Seeing means when we use our own senses and our own understanding and our own intelligence in seeing life, it puts us in illusion. So the idea of seeing is believing is not complete, because what we see may not be the reality, and our seeing is covered by various perceptions. Just like the example is given, if you are wearing a black color glass, you're going to see everything black. If you're wearing a red color glass, you're going to see everything red. Right? So similarly, depending on what perception we have, we see life accordingly. Right? So Arjuna, even though he is seeing the warriors, but because he is seeing from the perception of my relatives, you know, he's still in this conception of I and mine. All these emotions are churning in him. So perception changed from evil minded to my people. So Drishtve Mam Swajanam Krishnam. Even though Arjuna is seeing his enemies actually, but he is not calling them enemies. Arjuna is seeing these enemies as his people, his friends and relatives. And so there is a clash now of two realities. On one end, these are his enemies whom Arjuna has to kill. But on the other end, these are his own relatives also. So Arjuna is in a fix. Like in English, they say, na, checkmate. Life brings you to such a point that you're checkmated, or you come to a blind end. You come to a point where a dead end. You don't see anything else. You're so caught. So Arjuna is like so confused at this point. There is fear also, there is compassion also, there is anger also. So many emotions are churning in him. So Prabhupada explains in the purport that the symptoms that Arjuna is seeing here is body quivering, his mouth drying up. So these are, so Prabhupada in this purport in text 29 and in text 28 and 29, Prabhupada explains two different angles of seeing this. On one end, we see that these are symptoms of Arjuna's compassion, because Arjuna is a pure devotee. He's seeing all his enemies also in a very compassionate way, and that's why all these symptoms are coming. On the other hand, Srila Prabhupada also explains in text 29 that this is also Arjuna's, in one sense, is illusion, because he is still attached to my friends, my relatives. That sense of I and mine is still there. That is why all these various symptoms of stress are appearing. So Prabhupada explains, at least in this purport in text 28, that because of sympathy and compassion overwhelmed with kindness, he is foreseeing the imminent death of all his relatives. And because Arjuna is a very soft-hearted devotee, is a pure devotee of the Lord, he doesn't want to harm anyone. So a devotee is like that. Even his enemies, a devotee may have to do something, but he doesn't do with an eager heart. He's very pained to inflict punishment upon others. So Arjuna is actually astonished to see the fighting spirit of all his relatives. And because he's a genuine devotee of the Lord and he has all godly qualities, that's why Arjuna is feeling compassionate. So that's what Srila Prabhupada explains in text 28. So we'll read text 29. वेपुतश्च शरीर में रोमहर्षश्च जायते गांडीवं संसते हस्तात् त्वच्चैव परिधत्यते. My whole body is trembling, my hair is standing on end, my bow Gandiva is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning. I mean, so Arjuna is really going through serious emotions. This is something that is not expected in a warrior like Arjuna. Can you put yourself in the situation of Arjuna? Arjuna, his limbs are trembling, his mouth is drying up, his hair is standing on end, his Gandiva bow is slipping from his hand, and his skin is burning. That means he's getting temperature, he's getting fever. So, so Arjuna is really going through a lot of emotions at this point. So there's an interesting story in the Mahabharata that Arjuna had taken a vow that if anyone tells Arjuna to give up his Gandiva bow, Arjuna would kill that person. So one day it so happened that during the 18 days of war, Karna and Yudhishthir came face to face. And Karna attacked Yudhishthir with such force, and he really severely injured Yudhishthir. So the Sarthi of Yudhishthir got Yudhishthir back to the camp. And then after some time, Arjuna came to see Yudhishthir. So Yudhishthir thought that Arjuna had actually defeated Karna and he's come to give the good news to Yudhishthir. But when Yudhishthir came to know that Arjuna has come only to ask and see the welfare of Yudhishthir, Yudhishthir becomes so angry at Arjuna that, Arjuna, you couldn't defeat Karna even though he's insulted me. You just came out like that. And Yudhishthir gets so angry, he tells Arjuna, throw that Gandiva out. That Gandiva is just a decoration on your hand. Just throw it away. Arjuna had taken a vow that he would kill anyone who would tell him to throw the Gandiva away. And Arjuna actually literally takes a sword to kill Yudhishthir. And then Krishna comes and mediates and solves the problem. So the point is, Arjuna had a vow. If anyone tells him to give the Gandiva, he would kill that person. But that same Arjuna now, the Gandiva is slipping away from his hand. Involuntarily, it is going off. Can you imagine the crisis that Arjuna is going through? So in life, there is one thing, we should never become proud about ourselves. Because life can put us in such a situation that we may be very powerful, very great, very intelligent, but a situation may come where nothing will work. Life literally can humble us in various ways. Right? One small thing, we can be completely humbled. One COVID virus completely can humble us. So there is nothing literally to be proud about. So these are the, so Srila Prabhupada explains, we'll see what Prabhupada tells in the purport. So these are further symptoms of Arjuna, his whole body trembling, hair standing on end, Gandiva slipping, skin burning. So Prabhupada explains in the purport, these are the symptoms of Arjuna, body trembling, hair standing on end, Gandiva slipping, skin burning. So Prabhupada explains that there are two reasons because of which these bodily symptoms come. Your body is trembling, hair is standing on end, your skin is burning. These comes because of two reasons. One, because of great spiritual ecstasy. So these are Ashta Sattvika Bhava. There are different symptoms of ecstasy. Like your skin starts to burn, your hair starts to stand on end, you have tears in your eyes, there's trembling. These are due to ecstasy. And second reason why the symptoms come is because of great fear, material condition, great fear. When you are very fearful and nervous, these are symptoms that come, isn't it? If anyone is a doctor here, there is something called psychosomatic disease, where the mind starts to affect the body. When you are in a very fearful situation, you'll see that you start sweating, your limbs start trembling. So Prabhupada explains that these are two reasons why the symptoms can come. So, but in this case of Arjuna, both is true in one sense. Arjuna, because he's compassionate, also he is showing the symptoms. But Arjuna's symptom, Prabhupada explains here, is due to a material conception of life because he has fear. And the fear is due that he is going to lose all his friends and relatives. Arjuna is put in such a stressful situation that he's actually getting very, very fearful. So Prabhupada explains the materialistic conception of life is that we are products of matter and we are this material body. And we feel that life's ultimate goal is only to enjoy material pleasures through this body. So as long as we have this materialistic conception of life, fear is inevitable. We will all come across situations in life where we will experience these kinds of stress. So just one second. Yeah. Yeah. So actually, as I was telling you, so these symptoms are because of stress, trembling of limbs, hair standing on end, mouth drying, skin burning, mind reeling. So this is called mind over matter. When your mind becomes very weak and you give in to all of negative emotions, then it starts to affect the body also very negatively. Uh, so we know that we have this endorphins, all this hormones. So when you're very fearful, all these negative hormones are secreted, and it creates a lot of effect even in the bodily level. Mm. Yeah. So this is even doctors agree to this. There's a science that is emerging. One second. Huh? Yeah, yeah. There's a science that is emerging that says that positive attitude isn't just a state of mind. What goes on in the body also affects the what goes on in the brain also affects the body. So it's very important that as important it is to take care of the bodily uh, the functions, it is also important to take care of the mental functions because it affects the body. Just like the COVID thing. So the COVID disease has two parts, the physical part and the mental part. So we can deal with this COVID virus by taking all the immunity booster and whatever precaution we need for the body. But for the mind also, we need to be very positive and not to be very scared about this. Otherwise, that also will affect. So this is called mind over matter. So here Arjuna is going through this great stress of emotions. But why Arjuna is going through this bewilderment is for our benefit, because Arjuna wants to teach all of us that Krishna is putting Arjuna in the situation where he is like a common person going through all the stress and confusion. And because he takes shelter of Krishna and he hears Gita, he comes out very successful. So many people in today's world go through so much stress and emotional turmoil because the nature of this world is there is stress everywhere. What can you do? This world is so stressful. People give you stress, your own body gives you stress, so many things happening around which you have no control of. But if we hear Gita nicely, if we take shelter of the wisdom of Gita, even someone who is going through major depression. So Arjuna, the symptoms that Arjuna is showing here, if you go to any psychologist and you ask him, what are the symptoms? He will tell you this is a symptom of major depression. So Arjuna was really majorly depressed at this point. He lost control. But because he heard Gita, he gained his control back. He gained his control back. So the only way we can come out of even depressions and all the mental things that we go through is by hearing the wisdom of Gita. So Gita is a very, very important book. For a material life, for a spiritual life, for a emotional well-being, Gita is very, very important. So when we understand the wisdom of Gita well, we can remain peaceful even in a chaotic world, because this world is going to be chaotic. We can't change the situations of this world. you know can we remove COVID away? The reality is COVID is around. We can't run away, but the only thing that we can do is we can equip ourselves, we can make ourselves more positive and spiritual, so that even when we are in a difficult situation, we can actually handle it. So for Arjuna, before he heard Gita and after he heard Gita, the situation was still the same. But Arjuna, before he heard the Gita, was a very weak, depressed Arjuna. And after he heard the Gita, was a very strong, convinced, and very determined and focused Arjuna. So the situation is the same, but Arjuna's mindset's completely changed because he heard the Gita. And so Krishna puts Arjuna in this situation so that we also can learn a lesson that if we take shelter of this wisdom of Gita seriously, we also can come out of our bewilderment. So we will read one more shloka, text 30. So text 30 is the last shloka of this section, 27 to 30, where Arjuna is giving the first reason why he doesn't want to fight, and that is because of compassion. Text 30. न च शक्नोमि अवस्थातुं ब्रह्मतीव च मे मनः निमित्तानि च पश्यामि विपरीतानि केशव. So Arjuna explains here, I am now unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune, O Krishna, killer of the Keshi demon. So Arjuna is telling Krishna, Oh Krishna, I can't stay in this situation any longer. I am so stressed and confused and fearful. I want to run away. So Arjuna is, we all come in this across these situations, fight or flight, whether we face life or run away from life. So Arjuna is so stressed. He is saying, I can't handle this. My mind is breaking. My brain is going to burst away. Krishna, I just want to run away from here. I can't handle this. I can see only causes of misfortune. Nimittani cha pashyami vipritani keshava. He's telling Krishna, who is Krishna? Krishna is the goddess, Lord, master of the goddess of fortune, master of Lakshmi. But Arjuna is telling Krishna, Krishna, even you are there in my life, but I can see only misfortune. मुझे सिर्फ अंधकार दिख रहा है. अर्जुन के सामने सूरज खड़े हैं, कृष्ण खड़े हैं, पर अर्जुन को सिर्फ अंधकार दिख रहा है. And Arjuna is saying, I am too scared. So Prabhupada explains very beautifully in the purport that Arjuna is seeing only causes of misfortune. So these are further symptoms that Arjuna is expressing Krishna, unable to stand any longer, forgetting himself, mind is reeling. So, just once again. So by Krishna's will, Arjuna is going through these symptoms. So that first thing is important, by Krishna's will. So when we go through difficult situations in life, we need to understand Bhagwan ka kuch plan hai. So Krishna put Arjuna in this situation so that Arjuna could hear Bhagavad Gita and come out more successful. So understanding this is very important, by Krishna's will. So even when we go through a difficult situation, we need to understand that there is some plan of Krishna. We may not understand what, but we will understand sometime later. Right now, we will not be able to understand. So by Krishna's will, Arjuna is showing all the symptoms of body trembling, mind reeling, mouth drying up, skin burning, his Gandhi was slipping, and he's forgetting himself. Arjuna is so lost, he is not even able to understand who he is. So there is tremendous weakness of mind. And why does weakness of mind come? Prabhupada explains here, because of excessive material attachments. So when the mind becomes weak, when we are attached to material things, the mind becomes weak. That means we give our control to something else, someone else, isn't it? boy and girl, they come to know each other, they start to date each other, and then when there's a breakup, there is all these symptoms come. When this breakup is there, one of the major cause of depression is breakups. When breakups come, body starts to tremble, fever, so much depression that comes. Why? Because of excessive material attachments. We have given the remote control of our life to someone else, and that person starts to control, and we become very weak. So to become strong in life, we have to take control. We have to give up material attachments. So Srila Prabhupada explains that what is the root cause of fear? Why are we fearful? This is a shloka from the Bhagavatam. Bayam dvitiya abhiniveshat syat. The reason we are fearful, this is very important, is because we see a second reality. Bayam dvitiya abhiniveshat syat. When we start to focus on a second reality, we become fearful. I'll give an example. uh, if someone is sleeping and he sees a tiger chasing him, this guy becomes very fearful. Why does he become fearful? Because he is absorbed in the dream body, and he's thinking that the tiger is real and the dream is real. Because he is absorbed in a second reality, an illusory reality, he becomes fearful. But when he wakes up, he understands that the dream and the tiger in the dream both were illusory. So in this way, when we become attached to things in this world, there is fear. Arey, what will happen if that goes away? What will happen if this goes away? Hmm? Because we are focusing on the second reality. We have forgotten that we are spirit soul. We have nothing to do with this world. What is there to fear? Even if death comes, what is there to fear? That's why we see great souls who are on the level of the spirit, who are on a spiritual level. They don't even fear death. Bhishma didn't fear death. Abhimanyu fighting in the war, he didn't fear death. Why? Because he understood that anyway I am not this body. This body has to anyway die one day. Uh, One time there is this interesting story of a great devotee of Ramanuja called Anantacharya. So Anantacharya, he used to stay in Tirupati in those days, 2000 years back. Tirupati now is it's a place where so many people stay on top. But previously, 2000 years back, Tirupati was, the hill was a forest. Practically no one stayed there. So Anantacharya alone stayed in this place along with his wife, and he would take care of Balaji. In those days, the temple also was not there, only the deity was there. So one day, while he was making flowers, he was making a beautiful garden for Balaji, because Tirupati is called Pushpa Mandal. There's a lot of flowers that are offered to Balaji. One day, a snake bit him, and someone came and told Anantacharya, "Why don't you take any medicine?" So Anantacharya said, "I am not fearful of the snake, because if I die, I will go to Vaikuntha and serve the Lord. And if I live, I will stay here and serve the Lord. For me, anyway, things are not going to change. So what difference it makes?" So he was completely fearless because he was on the level of the spirit soul. So Prabhupada explains here, such fearfulness and loss of mental equilibrium comes because of excessive material attachments. And Arjuna is saying here, Nimittani Vipritani. He's telling Krishna, Krishna, I am seeing all causes of misfortune. Even if I win the war, I will be unhappy. Even if I lose the war, I will be unhappy. So it's a lose-lose situation for me. Why? Because he is thinking about himself. So Prabhupada explains here, every living entity generally is interested in his own welfare, in himself. So he thinks that my interest is to take care of myself. But he forgets that one's real self-interest, Prabhupada writes here in the purport, you all can go through this, one's real self-interest lies in Vishnu or Krishna. So the real interest for all of us is when we serve Krishna. So because Arjuna is thinking about himself, will I be happy like this? Will I be happy like this? He is miserable. When we think about Krishna more, I want to please Krishna without any expectation, then we can actually be happy. So Arjuna is calling Krishna here Keshava because one of the name of the Lord is Keshava because the Lord killed a demon called Keshi. That's why his name is Keshava. So Arjuna is telling Krishna, Krishna, I'm so confused. I'm so depressed. I really don't know what to do. So you please kill my demon like doubts that I have. Please destroy my doubts and kill my doubts just like you killed the demon Keshi. So this is till here, text 27, 20, 28, 29 and 30. Arjuna is giving the first reason why he doesn't want to fight. That is because of compassion. From text 31 onwards, Arjuna will start to give the second reason why he doesn't want to fight. That we will continue the next time. Anyone has any questions? Any questions or any comments? Okay. ठीक है. Okay, before we end, Sharvani, would you like to tell everyone how you are trying to distribute books? So we have Sharvani with us. She has, how many books you have distributed till now, Sharvani? Bhagavad Gita's?
Yes, Prabhuji.
How many Gitas till now?
243.
243.
Yeah.
So Sharvani is here. She has distributed alone 243 Bhagavad Gitas. And the most amazing thing is that she is one of the most introvert and shy girls. And I don't know how she has done. So can you tell everyone how you have distributed 243 Gitas sitting at home?
I just contacted my friends and told them to spread the word.
Okay. And you did some follow-up also?
Yeah.
Good.
After every 2 days, I used to ask them whether they are ready to take the book.
Very nice. So all of you all also can do. If she can do, definitely everyone else can at least try. Whether result come or not, it's different. But all of you all can try in whatever level. She just started to try. She didn't even know what she could do, But somehow it happens. So trying is in our hand. How do we get the books? What is the cost? So basically, English Gita is 160 and Marathi Hindi is 120. So how do you get the books? Yeah, you can contact us. We can arrange whatever books you want. You are in Goa, Mataji? Aruna Mataji, you are in Goa or outside Goa? Chennai. Oh, Chennai. You'll have to contact the ISKCON in Chennai. Where do you stay in Chennai? Is it close to ISKCON? No, very far. Okay, so let me see if I get any contact in Chennai. I will see if I can connect someone to you. We can do, but at least you start to. Okay, yeah, 10 books to ISKCON Margaon. Yeah. So wherever you all are, whichever part of India, you all can do it. Yes, Sharmila Mataji, very nice. So you can try more also, slowly. Yeah. So, yeah, great. So Aruna Mataji, you also try contacting ISKCON Chennai and see if there is any way they can give Gitas to you. I'm sure they'll be able to, they'll be happily give Gitas to you. If not, you let me know. I will try to arrange. Huh? Okay. Thank you very much. So we'll continue from text 31 the next time. Hare Krishna.